Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm a van lifer. Do you know that you have rights? So, living in a van, whether it's by choice, forced, there are rules and regulations you have to live by. We still live in a society, unless you go live in a commune, which, good on you, it sounds amazing, growing your own food, doing all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you're operating a vehicle, and depending on your country, there are certain laws and limits that you have to follow. Just that's the way it is. So I'm gonna make a decent list of what you need to do, what you need to know. Again, always check your local laws, but this is just gonna be a broader review of my experience and what I know. Okay, so I've made a list, and I'm gonna just go over some of the most important things I think that are important to stay legal, be a good ambassador, and just generally give a good name to the van life community. Don't ever be that guy. This is how to not be that guy, and also to keep your rig, to keep your license, to stay out of jail, because this might feel like a prison some days, especially when it's rainy, but you don't want to end up in actual prison. So the very first one, substances, whether it's, or doesn't matter if it's legal in your state, province, jurisdiction. You are free to do whatever you want in your free time. When you either get behind the wheel of a vehicle or are in a vehicle, that responsibility changes. I live in Canada. Depending on the vehicle, depending on the situation, it does not matter whether you are intending to drive. I've had it happen a lot of times with me where I've slept off a night of partying in the back of the car. If the keys are in your pocket, if you are somehow able to be able to start that vehicle, that's called care and control of a motor vehicle. You can get a DUI without even driving. And with a lot of campers, it can be the same thing. I know in some places and some designations of campers, especially if it's registered as an RV, there are exceptions that can be made where if there's a back section, you can consume alcohol and be okay. But generally, most vehicles, if there is somehow a way to get access to, or you have, like I said, the keys or a means to drive, that can be a big no-no. It doesn't matter if it's 7 a.m. and you've almost slept it off and you're still drunk. You can still get big trouble, lose your license, go through the whole thing, and it'll be a really expensive mistake. And further to that, whether you've had a drink or not, you could be stone sober, you could not have a drink for 4 days. Again, this depends on your area, local liquor laws. Open alcohol. Again, in Canada where I am, if it's sealed, it's usually okay. Most people just play it safe. They put alcohol in the trunk or the back seat where they can't get to it. If you have a bottle of vodka or rum that is open and there's some missing, depending on how the cop feels and depending on the circumstances, that's open liquor that could get you a decent ticket, if not worse. And again, depending on legality and where you live, other substances might be legal, they might not be legal. Just be smart. Be the smart person that we know you are. You are smart enough to build and maintain this vehicle and create your dream. Don't ruin it by doing something incredibly stupid. So the second most important thing, in my opinion, trespassing, tickets, etc. When you're in van life, unless you're lucky enough to know someone who lets you park for free, or you have a designated parking spot, or have access to a campground that you pay long term, you're going to be parking on streets, parking lots, basically wherever you can. And I've gone about this in a previous video where there's a certain amount of etiquette when you live this way. You don't want to overstay your welcome. Anywhere I go, I usually show up late, leave early. I rarely stay more than a day or two. I move around. I have a couple different spots. You just don't want to be in someone's space, especially because you're not paying for it. You don't own anything. I've never, ever gotten a ticket. I've never got that dreaded knock on the door. I've been pretty good because I have been respectful, and it helps that my van, despite looking like a piece of POS, is a box truck that is fairly stealth. So, again, this depends on your state and local laws, where you live. Security guards can do so much. Police can do a lot. If someone, even a security guard, gives you a notice of trespass, the police can then arrest you or force you to leave. So we really don't want to get to that point of someone saying you can no longer stay here, because you've burned that spot, you've pissed off security. Anytime they see you, even if you're there for legitimate reason, there's a shopping center near me that I need to get my groceries because it's the closest place. I stay over there sometimes, but security has been ramping up and being there more often. If they give you a ticket for a separate incident that you can no longer be on the property, that's now an area that you can't go to, even just for 15 minutes to grab groceries. So you need to think of this as I need to keep my places sweet and not ruin it. Number 3, license, insurance, registration. Make sure all of those are sorted, especially if you're going to be on the road for a while. I knew I was being rent evicted. I knew I wouldn't have a place to stay or a proper address. So I made sure to get my passport updated. I got my new license because it was expiring. I got the day I was legal, from 6 months in advance of when it was expiring, I went and I got it updated. Get all your insurance paperwork up to date. If you want to be pulled over, you want to be, here you go. I'm legal, I'm ready. You have that inspection sticker. Mine's good till next year and a bit. Whether you're registered as a camper or not, I don't think it's not illegal to sleep in your car as long as you're just in a place. Being registered as a camper in an RV helps a lot with insurance, because a lot of times insurance will not cover modified vehicles unless you've been registered as a camper. Mine only covers the value of what I paid for this vehicle. I could have $25,000. I could have the Mona Lisa in here, and if something goes wrong, I'm just getting what I paid for it. So just, yeah, license, registration, have everything up to date, especially if you're going to be on the road with no fixed address. Just get all that sorted, because it will save you a million headaches down the road. Number 4, kind of related to safety inspection, make sure you have a working vehicle. I know time, money, other things get in the way. Emergencies happen, breakdowns happen, flat tire, ran out of this, ran out of that. Some fixes are easy and cheap, some are really expensive. It's the nature of the beast being with a vehicle. But try and keep your vehicle going at all times. Or well maintained. Preventative maintenance, if you can afford it, if you can take it. I know, especially when you live in this thing, even dropping something off for an hour or two, especially, I have a pet. I have a dog who's lovely, but he's reactive. So setting up any sort of appointment where they need the vehicle, a lot of places you can't exactly just hang out in the back while they work in your car, especially if it's going on a lift. So just be mindful of how much it can affect your life if something happens to it. So when you can, if you can, keep your home well maintained, and it will take care of you. You can't guarantee against flats, breakdowns, whatever, but we can do our best to, in the meantime, when we're able to, take care of our vehicles. And last and final one, I appreciate you guys sticking with me so far. Be a good neighbor. Be an ambassador. You don't want to give van lifers a bad name, so that when people roll up or they see a camper, they want to have a good experience. They want to say, okay, those guys are fine. If you overstay your welcome, if you leave trash, if you drink, if you party, if you're a nuisance, again, this is not a hotel. We don't pay rent. We can only have so many rights and responsibilities, and we can only do so many things. But be a decent human being. Like I said, you are an ambassador, whether you like it or not, for the van life community. Be one. Anyways, I appreciate you watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Any questions, any thoughts, any feedback, anything I missed, in the comments. And yeah, we'll see you next time.